Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is David, and I'm running a session of Hearts of Wulin. Hearts of Wulin is a powered by the Apocalypse game of wuxia melodrama, which has been developed by Lord Francis. It had a successful Kickstarter campaign last year, and pre-orders have just started now as well. If you are interested in checking it out, there's more details and all that in the links down at the bottom. This game is being run as part of the Gauntlet, which is an online role-playing club. We get together and play games like this, organized through our calendar. We also have a monthly gaming zine called Codex, and we have a number of podcasts. So if you want to find out anything more about those, again, check out the links below, and you can find stuff there. I think that is all we have to do on that front. But what I will do now is I will ask my players to introduce themselves, tell us a little bit about their character, and then we'll have a quick recap of what happened last time, and we'll get into things. So yeah, as ever, Puckett, if I can ask you to kick off with introducing yourself and telling us a bit about your character.
Hi there, I'm Puckett. I use he, him pronouns. Today I'm playing Zhang Long, who is also called Blind Zhang or Young Zhang because of an injury that he suffered when being exposed to the reckless magical usage and demon summoning skills of Golden Soul Scholar Shang. Golden Soul Scholar Shang really made some grievous errors, which resulted in my blindness and killing our master, Li Feng. And now I seek to ensure that eldritch forces, demons, magic, and the like are banished from our realm forever to save the kingdom, to spare the people who have no defense against these things, and to ensure that mortals can be mortal and live a life free of intervention or interference from forces from beyond.
Brilliant, thank you very much. And Brian, if you'd like to introduce yourself, and give us a little info about your character.
Brian, he, him, and I am playing Mirror of the Cloud. He is an outsider, trickster. He would rather be off in nature, be off communing with nature than in the court. But all these goings on, he's been called in and told to get close to Golden Skull scholars, close advisors, and so he has gotten himself mixed in with the court.
Brilliant, thank you very much. And next, Maria, if you'd like to introduce yourself and tell us about your character.
All right, I am Maria. I use she, her pronouns, and I am playing Yaling Liu, who also uses she, her pronouns. She is the unorthodox playbook, specifically the servant version of it from the courtly playset. She was adopted by a fairly low-ranking member of the Liu clan, but she's risen to become a handmaiden to the clan leader, Constance of Starlight. She kind of seeks to establish herself in court and gain prestige and position by learning basically how other clans work and basically trying to power her way into not just being a servant anymore. And the last time we saw her, she had collapsed on a rooftop after attempting to escape some terrifying thing while not actually fighting very well. So yeah, that's Yaling.
Brilliant, thank you. And last but not least, Lara, if you'd like to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your character.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Laura. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm going to be playing Lei Ning today. Also she, her pronouns. Lei Ning is a lower ranking member of the Shang clan. My only living family member is my brother, Tian Ning. My parents were murdered, or well, they disappeared under mysterious circumstances right around the time when the current ruler came to power. I don't have a lot of prospects, but I have a pretty face and secrets for sale, so I get by just fine. And currently, I am very intrigued by magic and the darker forces at work in the world, and I'm interested in learning more about them. Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, thank you very much. So yeah, last time we concluded the defense of Myland Village, a small town that was being was under siege from the living dead. Our heroes discovered the source of this infestation, the spirit of a holy man by the name of Faithful Lotus had been disturbed and in fact stolen, or the skull particularly had been stolen by mysterious figures in the night. His spirit had been accidentally summoned back by his disciple Placid Swan, and had animated the dead of the village graveyard to mostly in unfocused anger at the disturbance to his body. So last time Minyang was able to contain the spirit, and Zhang Long trapped it within a set of prayer beads that belonged to Faithful Lotus. In the meantime, Lei Ning had learned about what's gone on from Placid Swan, and Mirror of the Cloud had been approached by Boundless Sorrow, a mysterious and somewhat sinister figure who had given him a small jade box in order to trap the spirit, in return for giving it to Boundless Sorrow once it had been contained. Following that, the everyone was headed with the trap, with the entrapment of the spirit, the mystical slumber that had affected Yaling Liu had been lifted, and she will presumably come around as people are riding back towards the temple. And that was where we left things last time. So I think I'm going to skip ahead to when everyone is back at the temple. Yaling Liu, you will have had some time to recover. The rest of you may do as you wish as well. I believe the general plan was for at least some people to travel out to Mount Fang, where the where you believe this the skull of Faithful Lotus had been taken. But yeah, I will. Oh, sorry. One thing we haven't done yet is. I will give you all an opportunity if you have any, if you want to make any changes to your current entanglements, if you want to update those, change them around, anything like that, then you may take this opportunity to do so. You can also take this opportunity to mark the entanglement you would like to focus on for this evening. So yeah, I will. I'm going to go in reverse character keeper order this time, just to mix things up a little bit. Lei Ning, are you happy with your entanglements, or would you like to make any changes to them?
I'm happy with them. I think I'm just going to switch my focus on to my first one, which is I fled from Yaling because of the heartache, but Xu Wang, their lover, has called me back to honor a debt.
Cool. That sounds good. I'll make a note to bring Xu Wang into things this evening. Cool, thank you. Yeah, and Yaling Liu, do you want to make any changes to your entanglements?
Still good with and I'll keep my current one highlighted, which is that Lei Ning has given me private secret training. But gentlemen value and be wage to hear of it.
Cool. Perfect, thank you. And yeah, Mirror of the Cloud, are you happy with your entanglements, or would you like to make any changes?
I think I'm okay with them. The second one hasn't really come up, but if we think we need to change it a little bit to make it come up, we could modify it maybe, but I'm okay with it.
I'm okay with leaving it as if, and we'll try and work them in. I will try and get Tien into things this evening. Yeah, cool. Yeah, Zhang Long, are you okay with your entanglements, or would you like to make any changes?
I'm okay with them right now. I think I want to focus on the dark destiny that awaits Lei Ning if she continues pursuing Yaling.
That sounds fair. That sounds fair. Awesome. Great. So, yeah, I think with that, we will, like I said, I think we'll start off with some scenes around the palace, but if at any point people want to go off and do other things, that is cool. Do not ever feel like you are tied into being in any one particular place just because I start off some scenes there. And I think as we didn't have Yaling Liu here last time, I think I'd like to start with a scene with you. If do you have any ideas for a scene you would like, or if not, I can frame something up for you.
I don't have anything really set in mind. I guess kind of like trying to figure out what exactly she'd know after being in that mystical sleep or whatever.
Yeah, sure thing. So I guess actually I will ask the rest of the players. Will one of you have either been administering to Yaling Liu or checking up on her after her indisposition?
I can imagine Mirror would, just because he was the one there when she went down.
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, I think maybe we just get that sort of scene. It's maybe sort of the morning after the events of the night before. Probably later in the morning as you were traveling through the night. But yeah, and I think Yaling, you have just sort of woken from a natural sleep now, we'll say, when Mirror of the Cloud has sort of come in to check on you.
I think she probably starts upright, because the last thing I remember is it was like a spirit creature going through me or something.
Yeah, that's about it.
And I think I maybe still feel like I'm maybe still in battle or something. So twitch around, look everywhere, and be like, what? What happened?
That spirit, it was the spirit of a local holy man. It's been contained.
The holy man untied to any clan was this? Why was it attacking the village?
His body, his soul was disturbed. I know who was responsible. I'm not sure what to do about it next.
Should this not be brought up with the court?
I believe he was being used to pay Golden Soul Scholars' debts.
I think Yaling just like sinks her head into her hands and is just like, I have no idea what I need to be doing right now. Concert Silver Star will be so disappointed. I've not managed to learn anything. Was anyone else injured?
I'm trying to remember. I think some soldiers were. I think. I don't actually remember.
Yeah, I think a couple of soldiers were injured or killed in the fighting, but yeah, no one else was seriously hurt.
So yeah, I'll relay that.
Yeah. And I think Yaling just looks at Meredith the Cloud. You were there. Was it you that handled it?
Ultimately, Zhang Long, he met up with the, I'm going to blank on the word. What was it? What was it? Full Lotus? She had the prayer beads of the master and was able to contain his spirit within Placid Swan. Full Lotus was the master, I'm sorry. And Placid Swan was his disciple.
I see. I suppose I have you to thank for making sure I'm alive, though.
I managed to draw the spirit away from you when you fell.
Well, you have my thanks, and I suppose I owe you a little bit more than that. If there is anything the Liu clan can do, this one is at your service.
Well, there are lots of mysteries floating around in the court. I think we'll need to be looking out for each other. There'll be ample opportunity for you to return the favor, I'm sure.
Do we have more that we want to say, or maybe that's a scene?
Yeah, no, that sounds good. Awesome. Thank you. So yeah, and
well, or could I roll? What is the move? Comfort or support?
yeah, if you wish to provide some aid and assistance to Yaling, then that's yeah, that's cool.
Sure. I feel like that makes sense. I'll roll with wood. The 9.
Cool. Yes. So on a 7 to 9 with comfort or support, if they accept your words or your assistance, they can clear a checked element or gain a bond with you. Yeah, and then on a 10 up, you get some additional stuff. But that's the basic one. So yeah, Yaling, if you accept the aid that Mirror is offering, you may either clear a condition or take a bond with them, your choice.
I'll take a bond. Yeah, I'll accept that.
Cool. Awesome. So I think then, Lei Ning, is there something that you want to get up to when you're back at court?
I'm not sure if I have anything specific. I mean, just in general, Lei Ning is always on the search for information. So she might be poking around, asking about Mount Fang, what people know about that. Maybe seeing if her brother knows anything, that kind of thing.
Yeah, sure thing. So yeah, I think you find your brother Tian. He is I think that he is. We find him. He is sort of sat on a terrace, writing. It looks like he's writing poetry, and there's several crumpled up pieces of paper littered around the floor as he's sort of sat there with a pot of tea.
Yeah, I think that Lei Ning will probably approach and do the thing of like doing the covering the eyes, the whole guess who thing. But I think that she says, "Dear brother, your soul seems to be in turmoil."
Ah, sister, you surprised me. Yes, I have been. he sort of gestures at the paper around him. Have been writing or attempting to, at any rate. I feel it is probably time I made an attempt at making amends with the court over the unfortunate incident the other month. I can't remember actually. Did we? So I'm just checking back my notes from when we started the code. Did we determine exactly what it was that Tien had been? Yeah. So yeah, he Tien had been implicated in a crime that had actually been committed by Mirror, but I don't think we had determined exactly what it was. And we don't need to either, unless someone wants to. But yeah.
Yeah, I think that Lei Ning her eyes kind of brighten, and she kind of like jolts up and is kind of like suddenly very tense and says, "You should not have to apologize for anything. You and I both know who is to blame for that."
Yes, that is true, I suppose. But making an apology might be the simplest way of dealing with this and moving beyond it, unless you have a better idea, sister.
Lei Ning kind of taps her chin in that kind of like fake, thoughtful way, and says, "No, I think that apologizing seems like the most prudent thing to do at the moment. However, we must lie and wait and strike when best suits us, I suppose. For we do not deserve this slander, for we have done nothing wrong. I think that we need to lie low, at least for now. Gather our information."
Excellent. And I think actually, if you would like to make me a hearts and minds roll, so
Sure.
as ever, choose the stat you think is most appropriate for this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let me get to that. Right, here we go. I'm going to roll these two yellow. That is blue. I want yellow. So that's a 4. And then what is hearts and minds rolling with?
You can choose which element you wish to roll that one with. That's up to you.
I think that fire makes sense. I think this is very passionate. I think that Lei Ning feels very strongly about this.
Sure thing.
So I think that's a 6 then.
Yep. So I'm just checking if you... And you do not have... I think he will nod and he'll say, "Yes, yes, sister, I will make this apology now, and then when the time is appropriate, I will strike against Mirror of the Cloud and make him regret crossing me. And I think as well, as he says that we just see in the just that sort of like slight whisper of movement from behind you, and as you turn around, you can't see anyone there, but you've just got that kind of hairs on the back of your neck raising as you think you may have been overheard.
Yeah. I think that Lei Ning kind of shakes it off and just like shakes her head. Probably nothing. Maybe looks around for spiders really quickly just to make sure.
Excellent.
Yeah. And I think that's scene.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you. Yeah, and Zhang Long, how about you? What are you up to on your return to the palace?
I think I've returned to that stream where I was practicing my new technique. And I'm sitting there in quiet meditation with the prayer beads still in hand, still burning. And if I remember correctly, at the end of the last session, you told me that it was going to take a while for the spiders to find where the skull was and get back to me, correct? Do you think that it's been long enough for them to be able to return?
Oh yeah. I think by this point it will be. I think this is possibly when we see the sort of the spiders return, or some spiders return anyway. Whether it's the same ones or just other ones passing on the message, you may be able to tell. Probably no one else can.
And just because I think it'd be cool, I think they build a small web bridge across the pond to reach me.
Nice.
And climb up, and you see them with their little legs up, almost like they're whispering. And I smile. You are good and faithful. I wish more people knew how loyal you can be.
Nice. And I think there will be some like show of acknowledgement from them. They'll possibly all like raise up and raise their sort of front legs in a show of appreciation for your words.
And I think I'd like to dispatch a couple to find Lei Ning and ask her to speak with me.
Sure thing, yeah. They will be able to find Lei Ning without too much difficulty, unless Lei Ning is going out of her way to hide from them. And they'll be able to pass on the message.
Lei Ning, when they tell you, communicate where I am, do you come quickly, or do you take your time, or do you ignore it?
I mean, I think I respond right away, but I think that I like walk very slowly, very deliberately to where you are.
You seem troubled.
Troubled? Why? What would give you that impression?
I smile a little bit. The deliberate pace of your steps, they seem heavy, where normally they feel light, as if you barely need to touch the ground.
Yes, well, my steps are heavy with importance nowadays. I feel as if I am moving up in the world. I suppose that brings me... It makes me more grounded to this world in some ways.
The burden weighs heavily on you.
It weighs heavily on everyone. Does it not?
It does. But you are making a choice to carry that burden. You could do something else.
But this is my burden to carry. Nobody else may carry it but me. I feel it is my calling. I should not ignore my calling, should I?
You could seek happiness instead.
And who's to say this won't bring me happiness?
Lei Ning, the road that lies to power never takes anyone in a direction that is good for them. Look at me.
You seem content with how you are, though. I don't. You have your spiders. You seem. I mean, there's obviously more that you wish to fix in the world, but nothing is.
I think right now you see the spiders kind of weirdly combing my hair. Just like with their little legs, like straightening it out, taking knots out, that sort of thing. It is not contentness, Lei Ning. It is deliberation. I do not wish to waste more energy than I must when I strike. This world has no place for one such as I in it. It shouldn't.
And yet here you are. So we clearly still have a need of you.
When I am done, this world will be done with me as well.
And
I
how
look
do you
forward to
know
that
when
release.
you are done?
I beg your pardon?
How do you know that you are done?
I'll know that I am done when villagers can sleep through the night without the dead rising from their graves and trying to kill them. I'll know I am done when peace is restored and the natural order of things returns.
And how do we know that this is not the natural order? I have never known any different. This very much is my natural order.
Lei Ning, look around you. Does any of this seem as if it should be?
I don't think
Look,
that's my place to say. It simply is.
it is because we tampered with things beyond our understanding and beyond our control. Things with will. Things that seek power.
I suppose that is not our place either, to tamper with such things that we cannot control.
It isn't. It wasn't. It should never have been.
But why? Who is to say that it is not for us to tamper with such things?
Because the last thing that I saw was my master Li Fang being torn in half by a demon. After that, I only heard the screams and saw nothing else. There is nothing natural about this. This is why I caution you.
I hear your words, Master. And I will meditate on them most thoroughly. However, I cannot promise that I will come to a conclusion that you will be happy with.
I smile a little bit. Every student must find their own way. But let us talk of brighter things. How is your brother?
He has seen better times, but we will get through it. He has been wrongfully accused, but he has made his peace with it.
If you would ever like my assistance with clearing his name, you need only ask.
How would you do such a thing?
Normally one opens one's mouth and allows wind to pass over one's tongue in such a way that one forms shapes that then become words.
Any assistance you can give us is most appreciated. But we also have our ways.
Of course. And I wave a finger, and the spiders stop playing with my hair and crawl back across the silk bridge to land and disappear. I'll let you know if I hear or find anything. And in the meantime, be careful with your heart. You know how I feel about Yaling.
But the heart and mind are two very different things. The heart does not listen to the mind.
The heart is foolish.
Perhaps.
The mind may also be foolish, but the mind can be trained more easily than the heart. Just
The heart can be trained.
Just be careful.
I will try.
And I fall silent, sitting on the rock with a strand of burning beads in my hand as my hand is still aflame.
Yeah, and I think Lei Ning probably looks at the burning hand for a little bit. I think her eyes kind of change colors in the firelight. And then she nods and slowly turns to walk back to the palace.
Excellent. And I think sorry, words failing again. Yaling, on your, I think now that you've made a recovery, I think you will be summoned to speak with Consort Silver Starlight. She is in her chambers, but she's in sort of the essentially the reception area of her rooms. She is sat at a she's sat at like a writing desk, though the desk is set up to sort of face into the room, so she can kind of receive people. And in fact, no, she is sat. I think she's just sat playing 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 as though they're playing a chin, and idly sort of plucking at notes as you enter the room. Ah, Yaling, it is. I am glad you were not too gravely harmed by that creature. I have heard little of the details of your journey to the village, but please, as she'll kind of gesture to the to some sitting cushions sort of arrayed around where she's playing, do take a seat, and perhaps you can tell me a little of what happened.
I think Yaling bows and walks over and sits down and says, "My lady, I'm afraid I must be a disappointment to you in this. I tried to learn more about what's going on and keep my eye open and be your eyes, but unfortunately, I was not successful."
And yet you survived an encounter with, by all reports, quite a fearsome spirit. That is not something to be taken lightly. There are beings in this world whose power is beyond that of mortals, most mortals. She smiles. You should feel no shame that you were unable to defeat it alone.
The only shame I feel is that I may now be beholden to another not of our clan.
Really? And who do you owe this debt to?
The one who saved my life, Mirror of the Clouds. That is, if I am correct in assuming that a life save is a life owed.
Of course. Well, you understand well, I think, the value of debts, and I trust you to discharge whatever debt you feel you owe Mirror of the Cloud without compromising your other obligations.
Should I not be seeking to make others indebted to me, to our clan?
It would certainly make our life easier if you could. I have no doubt. But there is time for that. And as I say, you have not, in my eyes, failed by requiring the aid of another. Of course, if you can find ways of making those outside our clan useful to us, that will, of course, be appreciated.
I will do my utmost. Did you only call me here to talk of the village?
And to check up on you, of course. You are one of my most valued servants, child, and I would not see harm come to you if it can be avoided.
Yaling will smile. You know I would do anything for you and for the clan.
I have no doubt. I think actually I'm going to ask you to make me an impress roll here. That feels a bit closer than hearts and minds because I don't think you're really trying to get her to do anything for you. But I think this seems like an appropriate moment for that impress roll. As ever, you get to choose which element you roll that with.
I will do it with Earth, I think. And let's see. That is a 9 plus 2 is 11.
Nice. So on a hit, you impress or convince the person you're speaking to. You get to choose 2 options from the following list. You can create a bond with them. You can clear an element. You can gain +1 influence, or you can just gain a nebulous favor to be used in future. And you get to choose 2 of those options.
I will clear one of my elements and gain an influence.
And she sort of smiles and says, I have the utmost faith in you. You have always proved a loyal servant, and as I say, that is something I value greatly. But tell me, you say that you wish to work on the members of the other clans to bring them under our sway. What is your what do you plan to do next, outside of your duties to me, of course?
Of course, I must be vague to keep your honorable presence out of the gossip of others, but I do believe I may have a way to bring Min Yang of the Wu clan onto our side, potentially, if I can help him rescue Azure Condor, free him from imprisonment. But naturally, if this is not what the Liu clan should be after, I can always change my plans.
And I think she continues playing, but kind of gives you gives you sort of a sideways glance and says, "Yes, the Wu clan are in a tenuous position at the moment, but I have heard good things of Min Yang, and he seems a dutiful servant of the court. It would be useful to have someone like him sympathetic to our cause. And I think, like I said, she kind of smiles. She smiles gently at that, and I think I am going to ask you at this point to make your inner conflict roll.
Okay. Let's do this with. I think fire. Wait, no, I can't because that's marked. In that case, we'll use wood. That is 6. I could burn the bond with Min Yang potentially to get that to 7.
Yeah, if you wish, you can. That is entirely fair. Yeah, and if you do so and go up to a 7 to 9, then yes, you'll either have to mark an element or remove yourself from the scene.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'll burn that bond, kind of like the conflict between how I feel for Min Yang, but also how my loyalty is to the clan and concepts of Starlight. Like, I realize I'll have to come to grips with that. And so it's a 7. So I will leave the scene.
Sure thing. Yeah, so I think as you make your excuses
As gracefully as possible.
Yeah, indeed. Silver Starlight will kind of nod and dismiss you. Excellent. And I think we'll take a quick break there. Come back at 25 past, and yeah, we'll see where things go next. I'll see you all in a minute. Yeah. So welcome back, and yeah. So I think. I'll just check in again. Does anyone have a specific scene they want to frame, or person they want to speak to, or something else they want to get up to? I will also mention we've not gone into these in detail yet, but there are also the quarterly moves. If you do wish to at any point bring any of those into play, they are available for use. They're mostly based around sort of trying to get stuff done by calling on allies and the like. So if at any point you want to bring one of those in, also feel free to do so, and we can look at those. But again, no pressure to use them either. Does anyone have a scene in mind or something they would like to get up to?
I do need to catch some kind of ally in this box at some point.
Yep. Yeah, sure thing. So yeah, if you wish to go hunting for spirits, that is cool. We can look at that. I'm just going to have a quick look at the.
Did Laura's camera freeze for anybody else on when the cat was okay? I just making sure that it wasn't just me.
Cool. Yeah. So no. Certainly, and if you wish to go in search of a spirit to trap within this box. How do you think you're going to go about this? Are you going to just sort of roam the areas looking for it, or are you going to do some research first? How do you think this looks?
I don't think of Mirror of the Cloud as being super into research. um, yeah, I mean, I guess, right, he has that eerie moon and evil star ability, so he can kind of has a perception for hidden, energies, so he's probably just exploring and trying to feel out for something for it, or maybe there was some place or something that he previously knew was a promising place to start.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. If you would like to make that eerie moon and evil star move, as ever, you get to choose which element that is rolled with, and we'll see how things go.
Yeah, I think I've pretty much always been doing water for awareness, which makes a lot of sense to me. So I'll stick with that. That's a 7.
Okay, yeah. So on a hit, you perceive the hidden energies and may ask a study question about it. So
See, this is how I study. I just go out and feel it.
So yeah, I think the basic what you will get is obviously you will kind of start to feel you'll kind of get that sense for the uncanny that you have. You'll kind of feel you can kind of feel the presence of spiritual power, and I think actually we maybe see you. That I think maybe the place that you are drawn towards is the stream where we've seen Zhang Long practicing before, and I think you can feel kind of a greater sort of sense of like spiritual presence there.
So then it's just a matter of I mean, I think he will just meditate and try to somehow, contact and, whatever presence is here, and
yeah, sure thing. So yeah, if you would like to ask a question, and we will see what.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the question is how can I get it to agree to help me against what is it? Infinite.
Boundless sorrow. Yes.
Boundless sorrow. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that as you are sort of sitting there meditating, the figure of a young man walks out of the glade. He is dressed in quite formal clothing. He's got like a sort of courtly cap on and sort of long formal robes, but he is like soaking wet. His clothes are wet through. There's sort of water running down his face, and he steps in front of you and says, "Well, it's been some time since someone has called me for an audience. I am Whispers on Stone, the guardian of this river. Why have you summoned me to you?"
I am in need of a guardian. There are dark forces among us.
Yes, there are indeed. He sort of cocks his head and says, "But I have my duty here, guarding this river. Why should I? What is it that is so pressing that you would call upon my aid?"
I was given this by one who calls herself Boundless Sorrow, and I placed the box in front of me.
And he stares down at the box and then sort of back up to you and says, Is it true? Is that how you got your hands on this? Do not lie to me."
That is true. She gave it to me. She wants it returned, filled.
I see. This. He places a hand on the box. This was stolen from the celestial heavens. It is property of the property of the heavens, and it ought to be returned to them. I might be able to help if you promise that this will be returned to the heavens when you have completed your task.
I'm not opposed to that. I agree.
Very well. Then I will allow you to place me within this, within the box, and return it to this person who has requested you do this. But as I say, I must return to my river in time, and this box must return to its place in the heavens. I trust that you will uphold your end of this bargain.
Boundless sorrow did not strike me as one with a great deal of patience. I don't think it will be long before I see her again.
Good. And I think with that, he'll place his other hand on the small box as well, and there's just like a shimmer for a moment, and he isn't there anymore. But you can feel that presence within the small jade box, and it's also now just slightly damp to the touch as you pick it up. Awesome. Cool. So yeah, I'm going to check in with Lei Ning. Was there anything else you would like to do, or another scene you would like to have?
If possible, I think it'd be cool to have I think, Yaling, it's a training thing that I'm helping you with, right? Would you be down for doing a scene of that?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I was thinking it would be good to get Lei Ning and Yaling in the scene together. So yeah, that works for me.
Cool. What kind of training am I giving Yaling?
I've been imagining that it's like what clan are you? Like the Shang clan's secret techniques, which is why your like clan leader is mad or would be mad if they were to find out.
Okay.
Like maybe you wouldn't have done this, but Shui, like, it ought to honor that debt or whatever. It's like you should teach her your secret techniques.
Yeah, no, that sounds valid.
Did you seek me out or do I seek you out for this? Or do we have like a set?
I imagine we probably have like a set like space, because I mean, since these are secret meetings, we probably don't speak together much.
Yeah.
So maybe like a predetermined spot kind of out in the woods, maybe in a similar space where like Zhang Long was doing his training montage.
Just one like tree over. Yeah, I think Yaling probably gets there. I want to say she gets there like flustered, probably like having just run from her talk with Content Silver Starlight.
Okay, yeah, I think Lei Ning's probably up in a tree or something, and kind of just like floats down behind you and says, "You're late."
I had some business to attend to, but I'm here now.
My time is precious. I don't have time to waste on lateness. Let's get to work.
Your time is precious, but I've seen you following Zhang Long around recently.
Yes, I've decided that that is a good use of my precious time. This is something more forced upon me.
Oh, is it really such a trial to teach me? I'm sure you enjoy it a little bit.
I think that we see some color come into Lei Ning's cheeks, and she kind of like aggressively looks away. It says, let's get to work.
I think I'm going to call for an inner conflict roll there.
All right. Okay, let's see. Inner conflict. It's just a straight roll, right?
You can roll. It's rolled with an element. The only restriction is that you can't use your style element for this, but you can use any of your others.
All right. So that is a 7, and then in terms of what thing I want to use, I think that water makes sense, partly because I think isn't water Yaling's like main?
Yeah.
And then I think that Lei Ning is really trying to keep herself in check right now. I think that she's really trying to like be aware of like where she is and try not to let any of her emotions slide in.
So yeah, on a 7 to 9, you either have to leave the scene, or you can mark an element, or you can spend a bond to bring it up to a 10 if you wish, because you got a 9.
Yaling is just like fanning herself with her fan this entire time, lazing against a tree.
Okay, let's see. So I can tag a bond, you said?
Yes, you can spend a bond if you want to take that up to a 10.
Okay, yeah. I think I'll spend my bond with Yaling. And I think that I'm going to just kind of like whip my hair back aggressively and just kind of get ready for training, start stretching and cracking my neck and things, just being like, yes, I'm a bruh. It's all good. No emotions here.
Yaling is like sighs, and I like flip my fang close and stick it in like my belt. Say, all right, we better get this over with then.
Yeah, so I think that Lei Ning is going to like I'm imagining this is more like a kind of sparring thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Lei Ning's usual weapon of choice is a very, very nice looking sword. And so I think that she's going to draw it, and she's going to start like walking around with it and saying, the key to fighting is you have to fight with all of your heart. You have to believe in what you're fighting for. Otherwise, there is no point. And she's going to begin by she's going to try to land a blow on you and try to let you block it.
I think I like start out, I think, holding my fan, like out as like pretending it's a sword, and then when you strike, I just jump back and like land on a rock or something and say, but what if the point in fighting is not necessarily to win, but what if we must lose to get what we want?
And what are you willing to give up?
Well, most things, I assume. Isn't fighting just a way of arguing?
Arguing. No, it is a debate, a discussion. It is arguing implies that it is out of control. No, fighting requires discipline, precision, deliberate blows. You cannot let your feelings control you.
But if I were to fight with all my heart, wouldn't that be letting go of discipline?
No, it is channeling your heart with discipline. It is. Lei Ning kind of smiles as she remembers Zhang Long's words. She says, it is training your heart, honing your skills.
I don't see why hearts have to be involved in fighting.
If you fight without heart, then what are you fighting for? And then Lei Ning is going to go for another blow again.
I think instead of like jumping back this time, Yaling just like steps back, trusting that Lei Ning can like pull the blow or be at just like the right distance where it just slightly misses. And she smiles and says, well, I'm fighting to learn about other people. It's all about information here at court, isn't it?
Indeed. Information is power. It's how you get ahead in the world.
And is running off into the woods with Zhang Long your particular method of gaining power?
Perhaps. I have many methods. And what is your method of gaining power, Yaling? You are much more than just merely a servant. You and I both know that.
I think Yaling does like a sort of mocking bow type of thing. Just like, I'm glad you recognize that I am more than just a servant. As much as I like to blend in, it is nice to be noticed. I guess my ways of gaining power are, well, I'm here learning things from you, and that seems like a good enough start.
Why are you really here? You clearly don't want to learn to fight. You have not even drawn a weapon.
Like you said, information is power.
Yeah, Lei Ning is going to be a little taken aback by that, and maybe stumble a little bit and say, information on whom, might I ask?
I wouldn't feel too special. I try to learn about everyone I meet here at court.
Yes, you most certainly do.
What
And you
is-
learn about you.
Whoever pays attention, which I guess is you, for now.
For now.
I don't know who else.
I don't believe that for a second. You know all of the people that you have power over. You are not so naive as to ignore those strings.
But as much as I enjoy learning from you, my dear teacher, I'm also not naive enough to tell you, everyone, that I think knows things about me. Do we want to like turn this into a PC versus PC duel?
That's what I was kind of leaning towards.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you wanted to do that. So yeah, we can look at those mechanics. So the way a PC versus PC duel works is that one of you and basically whichever of you wishes to can challenge the other PC. You'll say what you give them if they let you win. You can offer XP character actions, so promising to do something, burning bonds, changing entanglements, or anything else really that you want to offer. Like fictional, like narrative decisions and stuff are always quite cool as well. Basically, then the other player decides if they're going to accept, at which point they lose the duel, and they also mark a point of XP as well as whatever you offered. If the person who if the other person refuses the deal, you both mark an element, and the person who turned it down chooses whether they win or draw against you. So that's how it works. So yeah, I guess who do you think is kind of in the more or does one of you have a challenge that you would like to lay down, I should say, or have a thing that you want to offer to win this duel between you? Also, I should point out these duels don't have to be physical necessarily. These can be sort of social stuff as well. I get the feeling it's kind of going to be a combination of the two. But yeah.
I was thinking back, that Yaling would maybe after she said the last thing she said, for the first time, launch her own attack on Lei Ning, kind of just like a very straightforward, like jump and kick. And basically, I will offer you the ability to narrate the moment, I think. how, like, yeah.
Yeah. I'll accept that. I think that Lei Ning actually wants Yaling to actually lash out at some point,
Mhm.
because that's how I was taught to learn things from people, to watch their attacks. It exposes a lot about who they are, how they work.
Yeah. I think, yeah, so I think, like, Yaling jumps off the rock that she's on and is kind of, like, horizontal in the air. And as she's doing that, she says something to basically the effect of, tell me why you agreed to teach me in the first place.
Yeah. So I think that as you land that blow, I think that Lei Ning gets like thrown to the ground. But she kind of just looks up with a kind of like half of the quirk of a smile playing across her mouth, and says, debts must be honored. And this is learning from you as well.
Just got muted. I think Yaling, like, extends her hand and like pulls Lei Ning up from the ground. I can respect that.
Big praise from you. Respect is a hard thing to earn.
Awesome, and I think that's probably that sounds like the scene to me. Unless anyone has any parting shots. Cool. So yeah, I think probably going to start winding up now. But I just want to check in. Zhang Long, was there a last scene you would like to bring in, or something you'd like to do?
I was just going to ask you how you're feeling and if you had spoons for it.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to do one last scene with you if you've got something in mind.
I've got one of two things in mind. I'd either like to meditate on and study the technique of the soul of the holy man that we saw in Mile End, or I don't think Yaling and I have had a scene together yet.
No, that would be cool. Yeah, if you'd I mean, either would be cool. But yeah, if you want to frame up a scene with Yaling, and Yaling, you're cool with that would be good to see. Because yeah, I don't think we have seen you two in. We've seen like the other side of that relationship, as it were. But yeah, I don't think we've seen the two of you in a.
So who won the duel?
I think I did, because Laura accepted the thing, and I think you get an XP for that too, maybe, or.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, you mark XP for accepting the loss. Yeah.
Okay. So how does that scene end? Does Lei Ning walk off, or do you just leave in triumph?
I imagine, like, did we like fade out on Yaling actually getting to the business of learning how to fight?
I think so. Yeah.
All right. So did Lei Ning leave the scene first, or?
I don't know.
The reason I'm asking is because if Lei Ning left the scene first, I think that you would feel a very light tap on your shoulder, Yaling, and see a spider perched on you, kind of like beckoning.
think Yaling looks at the spider and like follows its thread with a sigh.
I'm still sitting on the same rock.
Zhang
What are you
Long,
playing at?
I don't know what I'm learning.
Yelling, I may be blind, but I have eyes and ears everywhere.
I've noticed they tend to crawl around on things quite a lot in court.
They do, but they're gentle for the most part. So again, what are you playing at?
Well, what have your eyes and ears seen and heard?
I saw you get the better of my pupil. I've seen Mirror of the Cloud visit you. If you feel a sinking feeling in your stomach as you think, wait, does he know about? Then I regret to inform you, yes, I do.
You know about the extra apple I snuck into Consort Silver Starlight's meal yesterday.
Among other things. This is an opportunity for you to come clean, Yaling. We are here. There is a stream. You can wash your hands.
I think Yaling sits on a different rock. There are lots of rocks here, apparently. And crosses her arms. Well, not all of us are as lucky as you to have thousands, hundreds of our own little minions. Some of us have to do.
You consider it luck.
Well, I don't know what else I'd consider it.
I paid a heavy price for what I know. Knowledge always has costs.
Knowledge is difficult to acquire, I suppose. But now that you are who you are, you do not seem to be very bothered by the knowledge that you have.
I believe you meant to say now that who I am, not who I should be. The forces I wield, they do not care whether I am happy or not. They exact payment.
Is it really necessary for any of us to be happy? Isn't getting what we want good enough?
Striving for knowledge leads to ruin. Striving for wisdom leads to pain. Settling for happiness can yield a long life and other things along with it. Love, family, friendship. I would trade everything that I have and am for happiness. And instead, I settle for trying to make sure that no one else like me ever exists again.
It seems a difficult path to follow.
That is wisdom, Yaling. Knowing that I am what should not be, and striving to make sure this doesn't happen to anyone else.
I am much less of a caring person than you are then.
And again I ask, what are you playing at? Do you simply want to take over the court? Do you simply want to have power here on earth? What types of power do you seek?
I was raised as no one, and I would not like to return to that. So yes, perhaps I do seek power, knowledge, influence in the court.
And do you seek any knowledge or power or influence beyond the earthly plane?
If that is where knowledge, power, influence lie, perhaps it is not so very wrong to ally oneself with that.
That is where ruin, destruction, and the end of all things lie. The things that lie beyond this earth don't care about us. And the control they seek and the power they offer in exchange for it. It will see our world turned into their hell.
Well, maybe others that have tried have just not been as prepared.
I see. You believe that you are the chosen one, the one of destiny, the one who can somehow bring all these forces under bear, where so many others have tried and failed. But somehow, you are different. You can accomplish what generations of sorcerers and magicians and conjurers could not. Somehow all their hours and years and decades of combined study can be distilled into you so that you can have the true control and power they sought and died attempting to achieve.
I do not say that I would actively seek those supernatural powers. I said I would not turn my back on using them if I had to. I'm not quite as delusional as you make me seem.
I hold up my hand with the beads in it. This is the result of meddling. a good man, a holy man, disturbed from his eternal rest, now bound to a strand of burning beads, seeking vengeance, because someone could not let the dead lie. Would you like to feel this fire?
I think Yaling looked at it. It's like, it looks so good in your hand already. I do not think I would deign to remove such a dashing accessory from your person.
My dear Yaling, you would not remove it. You could try, but you would not succeed. I merely asked if you wanted to touch it, to try, because it would burn you before you could.
Well, if I think she's going to like stand up from her rock and walk up towards it, like the outstretched hand with the beads, and like let her hand hover over them if Zhang Long allows that much to happen.
It's like trying to hold your hand over a candle, but as you do so, you suddenly hear something between a whisper and the sound of wind, but the air is still. And you realize that in the trees along the banks, there are countless spiders.
I think, like, despite herself, Yaling shudders a little at that realization and, like, lets her hand drop. And she like, I think she turns around. I don't think I care to test myself at this moment.
Not all knowledge is worth pursuing, Yaling. But let me stress this. My concern is not with this plane of existence. It is with the entities that are seeking to invade it from beyond and stopping them from doing so. I do not care what happens at court. As long as Golden Soul Scholar Shang is removed, I do not care who sits on the throne. There are opportunities for those who aid me.
The way you say this, you sound as if you consider yourself a forerunner or in the forefront of this conflict, a general. Do you have that much power?
I twitch a finger. And David, let me know if I need to roll for this. But there's suddenly a canopy of spider silk covering us, from stretching across the river from tree to tree.
No, I think that's a cool effect that doesn't achieve much. So I think that's fine.
We have
Okay.
the budget for it.
I have only one goal, Yaling. And that is to protect this world and stop the invasion from another. People who survive such a conflict would rightly be seen as heroes by the people they would inevitably come to govern.
You give me much to think about. I don't think that our goals are at all, well, too far apart from each other.
I don't think they conflict. And that is sufficient. But I would ask one favor of you in return.
A favor.
A boon, if you will.
What is it?
My student, Lei Ning,
My teacher.
you would be well served to find another teacher.
Oh,
You have learned enough secrets of the Shang clan, have you not? Surely there's another clan whose secrets you can mine.
Well, there are many other clans, but one can always learn more.
Consider my offer, Yaling. There is power in it for one such as yourself. And not power that needs to be seized, but power that will be freely given. Especially from your origins, one of the people becoming a hero of the kingdom. Think about how loved and adored you would be.
I'll consider your offer. I suppose I can always find you where there are spider webs.
You need but to say something. Are you aware, Yaling, that there are enough spiders in this world that if they decided to work together, they could kill us all without even thinking?
With that power, I'm surprised you are not yet on the throne.
I don't seek power. And I smile. Good day, Yaling.
Yaling will just like get her fan out and start batting her way through the spiders as she leaves.
No, they move out of your way.
Oh, okay. Well, she'll get her
They're not
fan out
hindering you.
anyway. She's got to fan herself after that. Too much talking.
And then, if it's okay, David, I would like to try to learn a new technique from the soul of Faithful Lotus.
Yeah,
Indeed.
sure thing.
And I actually had a level up last time, so we can work with this offline. But I kind of wanted some kind of eldritch spell or ability to learn from a faithful Lotus based on what we saw that tempest of his soul doing.
Sure thing. Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, so flipping over to, and this is on the other moves, correct? To learn a new
Yes,
technique?
that's right. It is. Yes, new technique. So yeah, when you go off to develop a new technique to face a foe of higher scale, describe your montage and roll with the number of times you've seen your foe's fighting form.
So we're just counting that evening as one time, correct? We're not like counting me going off to the temple and then coming back as 2 times seeing it.
No, I think I think it was probably just one time.
Okay.
Yeah, one time probably makes sense. Yeah, that you actually saw conflict. So yeah.
And then which page is the roll for your party link on?
Oh, sorry. It is. I think it's in the basic moves, but I will also just link it into the chat for.
Yeah, there it
ease.
is. All right, so I'm just going to roll these blue dice right here. Nine on the dice plus 1 is a 10.
Perfect.
Okay. So anyway, we can work on that move offline.
Sure thing. No worries. Yeah, no, that's not a problem. Yeah. And yeah, I think that is where we will call things for this evening. So thank you very much, everyone. It's been a great session. I will stop the recording now.